So, as we covered yesterday, Donald Trump came out after Hamas accepted the peace proposal that, or at least like the conditions on the peace proposal that they had conceded to prior, and came out and accepted it. At least, like I said, the parts that they had conceded to in the peace proposal prior. And Donald Trump liked it. To my shock, to my surprise, Donald Trump liked that they were accepting of it. And as I tweeted, Donald Trump revealed this statement after. He said, based on the Hamas statement just issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for a lasting peace. Israel must immediately stop bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. Right now, it's far too dangerous to do that. We are already in discussions on details to be worked out. This is not about Gaza alone. This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East. Israel, of course, did not stop bombing Gaza. Then Donald Trump went and said, I appreciate that Israel has temporarily stopped the bombing in order to give the hostage release a day later, 18 hours later. What reason do we have to think this isn't just the same thing as a Qatar strike? Trump's response so far, and I don't know. I don't trust Donald Trump. Until this is done, I will not be trusting Donald Trump. But having said that, this is where we're at.
But above all, we would not have actually removed and eradicated that nuclear threat against the state of Israel. It was a historic achievement that will be written down in the annals of history. My dear friend, President Trump, I must thank you, who helped us by sending the B-2 airplane and his steadfast stand and help, and he bombed the nuclear facilities. And we would not have been able to achieve that. People said it was too good to be true. Well, I'm telling you, it is true. It really is true. And with the help of God, it'll help, and it will happen very soon. I have guided the negotiation team under the auspices of Dermer to really make this negotiation only last for a few days. And you heard the President Trump, he is not going to suffer any of those sort of delays on the part of Hamas. And we said that the Hamas will be disarmed and there will be a demilitarization of the Gaza Strip. It will be done either by us or in a political way, either in the easy way or in the hard way, but it will be achieved. I would like to thank all the security forces and the IDF. You are heroes. I salute you. I embrace all the bereaved families who sacrifice, those who they cherish the most, and all those who suffered so much and sacrificed themselves. And all are wounded. I wish you health. But it is thanks to all of you, and you also, the citizens of the State of Israel, who have been so resilient and stood steadfastly in such tough days, while we were destroying our enemies from Yemen, if we're talking about the Hezbollah and the Hamas, from one victory to the other. Together we are changing the face of the Middle East, and we will continue working in such a way till the eternity of the State of Israel. It says in the Bible that, yes, if we continue thus, then we will be strong and steadfast.
This is interesting. This means that, it means that this seems like a concession speech. He said it comes across like a victory speech, but that is, he's trying to deliver a victory speech, as in there is a finality with this. Do you understand? Of course, he has to sell it to the Israeli public like he got all of his wishes across. But this is, I don't know. This is very, very different than prior instances where he was told it's over, or where he was told like, oh, ceasefire time. In the past, when he was told it's ceasefire time, he was like, no, it's not. This right here is him basically trying to tell the Israeli public, like, guys, we got all of our wishes across. We did it. Mission accomplished. I'm not gonna lie. This is unique. Amit Segal says this is strange. What bothers me most about this speech is that Netanyahu's absolute certainty that the deal is going to happen. He said the most astonishing thing. To all those who say it's too good to be true is true. Netanyahu is essentially not even leaving any room for something to go wrong in Cairo, or what's happening here. We know the partner. We know the dynamics of negotiation. What's going on here that Netanyahu feels so confident. He's also addressing all of his achievements at Hamas's expense, even announced because per Netanyahu's optimism, by the end of Sukkot, all hostages will be released. That after Hamas releases all the hostages, it will also be disarmed either through military or diplomatic means. Something here seems very strange to me, and I'm not sure it's right for the Israeli prime minister to get up and say this is guaranteed even before getting into details of how to implement it. I mean, it's obvious that he is trying to say, like, you know, we're done. And he's not going to say we're done and we lost. He's going to say we're done and we achieved all of our military objectives. What's interesting here is that he's saying we're done rather than saying we're not done. Because in the past, ceasefire deals have been presented and he has turned around and said, we're not done. Of course, there's no real ceasefire. We're going to keep bombing. Don't worry. He even said that after his White House meeting, if you remember. He said that, but he's not saying that right now.
Hamas says it is ready to begin negotiations immediately to finalize all outstanding issues under President Trump's Gaza peace plan. Yesterday, the U.S. designated terrorist group said it would release all of the remaining October 7th hostages. The president spoke from the Oval Office yesterday to thank the countries that helped put the deal together. He said they're very close to achieving peace in the Middle East. Earlier, he had warned that Hamas had until Sunday evening to agree to the deal or face, quote, all hell. Deborah Pata is in East Jerusalem with the very latest. Deborah, good morning.
Good morning. Well, despite a qualified response from Hamas to his peace proposal, President Trump has welcomed it and immediately ordered Israel to stop.
A U.S. official said Trump spoke with Erdogan on Friday before Hamas' response, asking him to ensure the movement would not reject the plan. The official added, Trump told him, I've done a lot for you, and now I need you to do this for me. Bibi went too far in Gaza, and Israel has lost a lot of global support. Now I will bring all that support back to them. These guys are out of their minds if they think they can just, like, bring the support back to Israel somehow.
Gaza overnight saying Hamas is ready for a lasting peace.
This is the closest Israel and Hamas have come to making a deal to end the war since it began nearly 2 years ago.
This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East, and we're very close to achieving that.
Hamas says it is ready to release all the remaining hostages, living and dead, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners, and has agreed to surrender governing power in Gaza. But it wants further negotiations on some of the terms of the proposal and made no mention of laying down its arms, a key demand of the deal. Israelis are daring to hope once more.
I hope this will bring peace for Palestinians, for Israelis, and no more war, and the hostages back home.
I really hope that this war will end and we'll start living again.
After nearly 2 years to the day of grinding war, there is at least a reason to celebrate. When news spread that Hamas had conditionally accepted the Trump plan, people took to the streets. The hope is that the bloodshed will soon be over. Overnight, explosions were seen across the Strip, but the Israeli military has reportedly moved to a defensive posture after Donald Trump.
This is so disingenuous, too. Oh, they're disingenuously blowing it up. For the record, once again, always had this power and still does to this day. One phone call. Contrary to what was reported overnight, coordination between Trump and Netanyahu is complete. They spoke before publishing the statement. The prime minister was not surprised, says Wynette. I lean towards, yes, these fake rifts have been a constant tactic to mask how coordinated they are on everything. And Barack Ravid also helped spread those fake stories in the past as he's doing now. I am still worried because, yes, Donald Trump does have the capacity to stop Israel with a phone call. And yet Donald Trump has only used that phone call to further scheme with Israel over and over again. But the only difference here is that Benjamin Netanyahu isn't speaking like he's going to continue the bombing campaign, but instead started talking about victory. And that has a finality to it. Just dropped on the negotiations. After negotiations, Israel's agreed to the initial withdrawal line, which we have shown to and share with Hamas. When Hamas confirms the ceasefire will be immediately effective, the hostage and prisoner exchange will begin, and we will create the conditions for the next phase of the withdrawal, which will bring us close to the end of this 3,000-year catastrophe. Thank you for the attention to this matter. Stay tuned. 3,000 years, by the way. Oh, God, these guys are so stupid. What is the worst case here? Worst case is that this is yet another scheme and they're faking it. and they're going to take out the hostages because it's been like somewhat of a political hurdle for Netanyahu and Israel, I guess. And then they're going to immediately keep bombing and implement the Rafah concentration camp ethnic cleansing campaign. That's the worst case. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. You asked me what the worst case scenario is. That's the worst case. Yeah, this is a sitting congressperson, Representative Hank Johnson, who apparently says some insane shit. Hamas said it had agreed to release all the Israeli hostages, alive or dead, under the terms of President Trump's proposed Gaza peace plan. Representative Hank Johnson says, I am gratified that Hamas has agreed to release the hostages. Hamas is responsible for the ongoing genocide being undertaken by the state of Israel. What? Wait, I'm sorry. You recognize that Israel is doing a genocide, but you also still think it's Hamas's fault that Israel's doing a genocide? Okay, this, Jay Mershon, sometimes you spam links and it gets annoying, but you were right to send this one. You were right to say this is a new thing that you haven't encountered yet. Because I've encountered people who say Israel's not committing a genocide. I've encountered people who say Israel's committing a genocide, but that's actually good, right? Like, because they deserve it. I have, however, never encountered a person that has said Israel is committing a genocide and it's bad, but it's a genocide because of Hamas. I've only heard other versions of this, like Israel's doing war crimes and a genocide, but it's a good thing because Palestinians deserve it because of Hamas. This guy is saying Israel's committing a genocide and it's bad, but it's because of Hamas that Israel is committing a genocide. I have never heard that before. Someone said you had a podcast with a person like that. Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, you're right. This is the Ethan Klein position. Oh my God. You're right. You're not wrong. Because it's a disingenuous one that I never even actually thought about it like that. That's true. Low key, not wrong. And I call on Trump administration to force a stop to that atrocity and to prevent Israel from annexing the West Bank. Progress can be made towards a peace agreement that includes the establishment of a homeland for Palestinians. Wow. Brilliant fucking take. I've never heard the stop hitting yourself. Brilliant take. Stop hitting yourself. But this time it's about genocide. Hamas is responsible for the ongoing genocide by being undertaken by the state of Israel is such a wild thing to say. Clintonian triangulation is strange because it's such an unusual triangulation. The normal play is to ignore that it's a genocide and give platitudes about the need for aid or whatever. This acknowledges the state of Israel is carrying out the genocide, but then hedges by saying Hamas forced them to do it. Incredible. It's incredible because it just doesn't make sense. Because it's such an insane thing to say. Which is why, like, when Ethan made this exact same claim, we just didn't factor that he was being sincere about the recognition of Israel doing a genocide. Because you can't recognize a state or an entity doing a genocide and then simultaneously say it's the victim's fault. Like, that doesn't make sense at all. Unless you think Israel's doing a genocide and it's a good thing. You know what I mean? It is a totally incoherent thing to state